Hey everyone, welcome back to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to mix any color that you see out in the world, whether it be an orange or a building or a landscape, doesn't matter, you're going to know how to do it now. Let's go. Okay, so when you're first learning how to understand color, all color consists of three things when you're seeing it. It consists of the hue, the value, and the chroma. And we're going to go over those three things right now. So the hue is the color, the actual color you see. So is it red, green, blue? What is the name of that color? It could be the color coming out of your tube as well. And the value is the light or darkness of a color. So it's the lightness or darkness. So is it really white or is it really black? And remember, to thin down a color, you always add a lot of water to it. So that makes it lighter, okay? Or you can add black or Payne's gray to make watercolors darker. The next thing is, so we have hue, value, and lastly, chroma. That is the brilliance of the color. How bright is it? And how intense is it? Is it neon green or is it a dull green? So it's the brightness or dullness of a green. All right, so I'm going to teach you now, when you see a color, how to analyze it. And let's go. Okay, so this color is obviously red, right? There might be different types of red in this, but the general color is red. Okay, so if we were to match this, the value, is it white or is it black? Or you can grab a nice value chart from white to black and you can put it right up next to it. And so let's start off with white, pure white. Okay, and then we're going down to a value of 9. Are you seeing that the value, or if this red color was perfectly gray, is that white or is it a little bit gray, or is it starting to match the next ones? Okay, so if you're thinking that it's looking a little bit darker, then you are correct. All right, so this is a value of about 6 or 5 on my scale. I would say how you can tell is, does this little dark area right here for value 5 look darker or lighter? And you're just comparing. Okay, so I think it's about a value of 6. Okay, let's try another one. Let's go with a very bright green. Okay, the Post-it green, the fluorescent green. All right, is that pure white? Nope. Is it a value of 9? I think it's a value of 9. It's right close to there. You go to a value of 8, and it's the 8 is actually darker than that fluorescent color. Okay, so, and it's not pure white. So you're always starting to analyze colors. Let's try one more. So we have a dark green. Is it white? Is it black? Nope, it's somewhere in between. So let's go, and I bet you it's going to be about the same as the red one. Yep, value of 6, because 5 just looks a little bit too dark. All right, so you're probably scratching your head, but how do I mix and how do I find the right color and value to match this? All right, so I'm going to take out my number 8 brush, Princeton, and I have these linked in the description below if you're interested in this beginner set. I have my water cups ready, one for dirty water, one for light. I've sprayed down my colors. So I'm just going to have to guess at some point what color to start off with. Is it a pink red? Is it an orange red? Is it a blue red? So I'm thinking that it's closer to alizarin crimson, which is a deep red. Okay, so let's see if I'm close to it. Yep, that's pretty close. So if I have paint right out of the tube and I put this color right next door to it, and I let that dry, it would be pretty close. So if I thinned it down, so I get all the water off my brush and I thinned it down, sorry, all the color off my brush. Okay, so you can see that there's a value change happening right there. So the value that I want it to be, even though it looks glossy and shiny, is somewhere right in here, okay, to actually truly match that red color. Could I add a little bit of cerulean blue? Because I see just a little bit darker. Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Well, it turned it a lot darker. So you have to be careful when you're matching the right values, not to overdo it in some areas. And remember, if you mess up in watercolor, you can always take a tissue and lift out some of that color, and then you can go right back and start it again. Okay, so that value right there is very intense, but remember, it's going to dry, so it could dry to that nice red color. All right, let's try it out now with, let's try that fluorescent green. Okay, so matching this value and intensity, remember this is super intense, so that's why it's nice to have some pre-mix. And you can probably tell that this lemon yellow is super bright over here, and it's going to be very close. But is it going to be identical to the actual color? Nope. The value is pretty close, but the intensity, it's really trying. It's still not as intense, and it's going to be hard to match a fluorescent color unless you buy a fluorescent color. So the best I can do to make this look like a bright green is grab, let's see, I have Windsor green and I have some permanent green. So I'm just going to thin down some permanent green and see if I can match that. Okay, well, it definitely made the green color. Did I lose the intense brightness of my yellow? Yep. So why don't we add a little more yellow to the top of there? Okay, so now what's happening is it is getting closer. On the screen, it translates a little bit different than right here in my studio. However, if I lighten this up with a towel, you can see that parts of the light, it's looking really close up here. So let's take my tissue here and just see if I can lighten some of those areas up. So that's where you can start to play around a little bit and see if you can try to match some of those areas. So you can see that that is very close in brightness. It's not going to match identically because this is a fluorescent color. All right, so let's take it a step further and translate it even more into a real life scenario. So let's say you are wanting to paint and draw a onion. Okay, so you're trying to do a watercolor of an onion. Wow, there's a lot of interesting colors, and you notice that if we take our value chart, that white is right around in here, okay, because that's where the direct light is hitting. But then you go downward, down to the shadow areas down here, and you can see that if you were to put this value scale chart right in there, you'd get a value about 7. And then is there any black areas? Maybe no real black areas, but there's some really darks down where the shadow is. Okay, so that's how you know how bright or how light and dark from that value chart. Now let's see if we can mix the right colors for it and see if I can balance this on my paper here. Okay, so the general color, what is the general color? It is I would say a tan, or I wouldn't say pink. I would say more of an orange, a tannish orange color. So right in there. So I would say if I'm going to mix colors, I would start very lightly with some yellow ochre, because I start to see a little bit of a thinned down yellow ochre. So let me put that down right here in the corner. And yeah, yellow ochre is very close. And I would add just a little bit of, let's see here. Well, there's a tiny bit of cad yellow in there. And be careful when you use cad yellow, it's very intense. So I'll put a little bit in there. And to get a little bit of those reddish browns, burnt sienna is going to be perfect for that. That is your red-brown color. Okay, so it's a nice, soft, reddish brown color. So let me put that in there, and you tell me if that is correct. So as you're looking, is that pretty close to what you're seeing right in here? Okay, so this is the generalized color. So that's how you start to match. And if you were going to get a little bit darker, then you could add a little Payne's gray to that. Or if you were going to dull it, you would add a little bit of this permanent green, because that is the complement on the color wheel. That's the color straight across from red. So remember that burnt sienna has a lot of red in it. So let's, oh, I just got some green on my onion there. Okay, so if we put a little bit of that permanent green, can you see a little bit of those permanent green colors in there? So that would be a nice start to this understanding this onion. Okay, so hue, it's a tan color. Value, I would say it's what we said it was like a probably a number 8 or 7 right in there. Okay, so it's a lighter on the value scale. And the chroma or intensity is a little bit duller. All right, so let's try another one here. What if you're painting something that's white? Okay, so wow, so we got this nice garlic clove, and you can see how the light's hitting right here, so it's pure white. And then over here in the shadows, you're starting to see the colors change a little bit. So let's get our value chart out, and yep, it's pretty close to a white right in here. And then if you keep going, I'd say a value of 9. And then down in here, I would say right down here, it's getting pretty close to number 7, or number 8 might be perfect. So right around in there. Okay, well, it's deceiving because of the shadows, but right, okay, so number 8 is getting real close. Okay, so that's how you're understanding how to do the value. And now the color. So I see in this garlic clove, I see the generalized color of white, but then as you keep going deeper, I'm starting to see little reflections. There's probably a reflection of the paint over here, but it's a little warmer. So I see a little bit of an orange right in here, and I'm starting to see, after you really analyze the darkness of that color, you can get a little bit of gray, and there's a little bit of warmth in there. So let's see if we can match some of those. So let's start off with a thin down Payne's gray. Okay, I'm going to thin that down a lot. Okay, I'm just going to mix. So I'm going to try to paint this color right there. Keep touching my still lifes. So right there, you can see how it's pretty thin. And then I'm going to go back to my burnt sienna. I'm going to add a little bit of that burnt sienna in there. Can you see right in there is what I am really trying to go for. Okay, is that starting to look similar to that color? Hope so, because I think so. So right in there is your garlic clove color. So, and then you would just mix it all the way till you get over here would be totally white as you're turning the corner over there. All right, the last one for this session is, since we are in the season, I got a pumpkin here. So this pumpkin, what is the general color of this pumpkin? Is it red? Is it green? What is it? Definitely orange, right? So orange, but it has a lot of little speckled green in there. Okay, so we are going to mix the generalized color. The value we're going to be thinking about, is it totally pure white? Okay, so you have to start thinking about how dark the color is. Okay, so it's probably right in there, value of 6 and maybe value of 7. Okay, it's not pure black. And now that we have those knocked out, is it a dull, or is it a fluorescent orange, or is it really dull? It's more on the dull side. Okay, so let's try to mix that orange color that I see. All right, I would start off, honestly, cad yellow is kind of a perfect start to this, and I'm just going to lay it down right there. But I'm noticing that this straight out of the tube is just it's too bright, too intense, maybe too deep. Okay, so there's actually more reds. So I'm gonna get some more of this cad red and add it to it and see if that is getting closer. Well, that's getting a little bit closer as I mix it right there. So let me add some water to it and see if that is getting close. Well, still a little bit too red for me. What if I add a little yellow ochre to the mix? Will that dull it down a little bit? Yeah, that's getting real close now. So yellow ochre mixed with cad red, cad orange kind of makes that nice dull color. And if you lift it up on some of these edges right here, I would just lift up a little bit and then transition the color around. So let's add some more water, and you see that it is getting a lot closer. Okay, so if you were going to make some of those speckled dots, I would just take some Payne's Gray, and I would just use your finger and hit the edge of your finger, and you'll make a little splatter. So I just made those little splatter marks right on there, and that's really close to what I see on this this pumpkin here. Okay, so don't forget, as we close up here, that color is consisted of the hue, the name of the color, the value, lightness or darkness, or the chroma, the intensity or brilliance of the color. So when you look at any type of color or a tree outside, find the general color first and then go from there. Thank you so much for watching my video today. And if you learned something new or this video provided value for you, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification so you can see all of my latest videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video.